This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Jamaican charged with killing teen Burger King cashier during robbery in New York. A Jamaican immigrant has been slapped with multiple charges relating to the murder of a 19-year-old woman during a robbery at a Burger King in New York on Sunday. Winston Glenn, 30, was charged with a first-degree murder and a robbery in relation to the killing of Crystal Baron Neves at the fast food chain's store in East Harlem. According to the New York Post, police sources said Glenn is not a U.S. citizen and is from Jamaica. His listed address in the United States is Queens Day Inn. Police investigators, aided by CCTV footage, tracked down and arrested Glenn on Thursday. Allegations are that about 1 a.m. on Sunday, an armed robber entered the restaurant and pistol-whipped a customer and pushed the night manager in the face. He reportedly then proceeded to the counter where Baron Neves worked as a cashier. The male robber demanded cash and the woman gave him $100, but he was not satisfied. He later shot Baron Neves while she was crouched behind a second cash register she was attempting to open to give the robber more money. He later fled the scene. Although Glenn worked at the same restaurant in 2020, investigators do not believe it was a targeted attack, the report said. Police sources also informed the New York Post that Glenn had several previous arrests, including menacing with a weapon at a homeless shelter he was residing up to the time of his arrest. He is to reappear in court on January 19, following an appearance Friday in which he reportedly yelled at the judge who he accused of being a liar. No arrest in pregnant woman's killing. Law enforcers say they have not had any breakthroughs with their investigations into the brutal killing of a pregnant woman who was shot dead in downtown Kingston last month. The deceased 26-year-old Shantiva Griffiths was killed at the intersection of Orange and Haywood Streets on her way home from work. Head of the Kingston Central Police Division, Superintendent Beresford Williams, told the news that investigations are still being conducted into the killing. "We haven't made an arrest in that matter as yet," Superintendent Williams said. "We are still doing some groundwork." Several stories have been making the rounds in the public sphere following the killing. Police say they are following several leads. It was reported that about 6:36 p.m., Griffiths, who reportedly worked at a store on Orange Street, was walking along the roadway when an armed man on foot approached and shot her multiple times. She was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Another suspect in murder of Haitian president held in Jamaica. Jamaican police on Saturday morning arrested one of the three key suspects in the July 2021 assassination of former Haitian President Jovenel Moïse. According to information reaching the news, the suspect, John Joel Joseph, a former Haitian opposition senator, was found with three other Haitian nationals in a rural Jamaica community where they had been living incognito. They are suspected to have been in the island since December after arriving by boat. Moïse was killed on July 7 when assassins burst into the presidential residence and shot him dead. His wife, Martine, was wounded but survived. In July last year, the National Police of Haiti issued 3 wanted notices for men who they said are accused of murder, attempted murder, and armed robbery. Among the men are the former legislator John Joel Joseph and Rudolph Jar, a businessman and a manager of several companies. Earlier this month, Colombian Mario Antonio Palacios, who was arrested in Jamaica in October, was being deported to his native Colombia when Interpol notified him during a stopover in Panama that the U.S. government was extraditing him. PSOJ urges government to settle wage dispute with police. The private sector organization of Jamaica is urging the government to settle the ongoing wage dispute with rank-and-file police. PSOJ President Keith Duncan says this is necessary to avoid any disruption in policing, especially in light of the country's high crime rate.
I would strongly engage with the appropriate persons within this, whether the Police Federation or whoever else, because we have seen that even the nurses and over 30 odd unions have already signed on to the wage increase for this year, and looking forward to the results of the public compensation review and how they are now brought forward going into the next couple of years in terms of our public sector wages and salaries. So many unions have already signed. So I believe that, and I believe the government of Jamaica has been proactive and the Minister of Finance around dealing with these unions. So I'm quite surprised to hear that the Minister of Finance is not in the conversation, but I expect that, I know we would call for him to do so, but I would be surprised if he isn't.
The Police Federation has threatened strong action if its dispute with the government is not settled by January 27. The wage dispute is to be heard in the Supreme Court on April 4 and 5 after the parties failed to reach an agreement regarding the payment of overtime to rank-and-file members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Police Federation filed a lawsuit in 2019 against the Finance and the National Security Ministries, the Attorney General and the Police Commissioner, complaining that its members have been working more than 40 hours per week without being paid. The Federation argued that this was in breach of the 2008 Heads of Agreement. Police Commissioner vows to break murderous start to 2022. 15 days into the new year, Jamaica has recorded more than 40 murders, a trend that is worrying to Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson. Anderson has vowed to recruit more members, the use of technology, and other crime-fighting tools such as Zone of Special Operations to break the momentum of murderous criminals. The commissioner told the news on Friday at his office in St. Andrew that St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover have joined Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine as parishes of major concern to the police in 2022. I am concerned about what is happening, but it doesn't stop at a concern. We are going to respond, make no mistakes about it. We have some specific plans we are creating to push back on the people committing the violence in Jamaica. The spillover from St. James and Westmoreland creates a problem in Hanover in the western end. Largely in the southern crescent, we have Kingston and the St. Andrew Police Divisions posing a problem. It basically spans from 6 miles to Bull Bay. The southern crescent is an issue, and as you know, we just put a zone of special operations in central Kingston. We are seeing some issues in St. Catherine North and the south. St. Catherine North started the year with a gang conflict at 31 St. John's Road. We have moved some assets there to bring things down. Westmoreland is something we are moving on it. I deployed additional officers to Westmoreland, and we are looking to reinforce the leadership team down there, Anderson said. Without revealing strategies, the commissioner hinted that specific plans are being created to push back on the people committing violence on the island. He said it was important that the public, the media, the judiciary, the correctional system, and the political leaders appreciate that the fight against the crime requires collaborative efforts. The murderers out there killing people. These people make money from what they do, and big money. As a police force, we need to reach out and create pathways, interventions, and work with the partners to ensure we have less and less people going into that lifestyle. When you have chosen that life, you need to be imprisoned for a long time. It cannot be that you are in prison now, and 2 years later, I am putting you back in prison, and then 2 years after that, you need to be away. Curfew imposed in sections of Savannah-Lamar, Westmoreland. The police have imposed a curfew in sections of Savannah-Lamar in Westmoreland. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Friday, January 14, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Sunday, January 16. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. North along Seaton Crescent running easterly to the intersection with Darling Street, east along roadway north of Seaton Crescent that adjoins Darling Street, Murray Street, Great George Street, Rose Street. East along Hutton Street, Gullyway east of Hutton Street to the shoreline with the Caribbean Sea. Southwest along shoreline with the Caribbean Sea to the mouth of the Goodens River where it drains into the Caribbean Sea at the edge of the mangroves. West along the boundary, then extends in a northerly direction from the mouth of Goodens River, where it drains into the Caribbean Sea at the edge of the mangroves, to Grata Road in the vicinity of the edge of the mangrove on the eastern side of the Goodens River. During the hours of the curfew, all persons are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.